There's the red light. We're good.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da, ba-da-ba-ba-da, ba-da-da-doo. Welcome to Dads in Real Life. You still need to throw all those together
I know,
and
I
mash
know.
it up.
You know what? That'll be my summer break thing, and that'll be our
Yes.
intro. Literally all the versions you've done. A quick 10
Yeah.
seconds, just hyper
You
quick.
should you should just put them all together on top of each other and just yeah, but have them all end in me saying dads in real life.
Real life. Yeah,
That's
sync
gonna
them
be a
all at the
trick.
end.
Yeah,
That'd
you're
be
gonna have
good.
to like slow me down and speed me up to make sure that that all says dads in real life. But
I'll make it happen. I'll make it
there
happen.
we go. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of episodes. I gotta say, I'm very proud of us.
I am too.
We're just about to. I think we just released the 20th episode on like
Yep.
in real life.
Yeah.
However, we're so much further along because we also pre-record all of these.
Yeah, we did. So that's a nice thing. But yeah, 20. I was gonna try to quickly look up. I'll look up next time for like how far does the average podcast last? You know what I mean? Like how many episodes do people like try to give it the old college try and then like, nah, it's not gonna work. So
Yeah. Where are we statistically?
I don't know. I know stay tuned for the next episode. I'll figure out the numbers then.
There we go.
Um,
There we go. Well, hey, today we got a treat for you. Today we are talking about the outdoors,
the great outdoors. Yep.
and we're gonna hit up a couple things because, as per the usual, we're just riffing,
Hmm.
and we are going to kick things off with. You ready for this?
Okay, let's
Just
see it.
some favorite things about the outdoors. You could say the outdoors, you could say nature, like whatever comes to mind first.
Gotcha.
I was just thinking about this recently, so I'll start
Yeah.
because there's one that I often run into, and it's a pretty consistent one. There's two of them, and I notice wherever I go. Okay, so the first one, if you guys haven't noticed, now I'm originally from SoCal, and now I live in NorCal, and it's perfect because okay, SoCal, you think of the beach, and
Hmm.
everybody's like, "Why'd you leave the beach?" And I'm like, "I love the mountains more, so the mountains are great."
Hmm.
Um, that's just one of many reasons, but when you are in the forest and the wind is blowing through the pine trees, it makes the exact same sound as the waves rolling in. So
You
the
know
next
what? And
time
it's
you're in the
almost like the
forest,
same
or
effect. It's like the same effect on you too, right?
yes, I think it probably releases some sort of endorphins or whatnot that are good for your
Hmm.
body.
Hmm.
I don't know which ones those are called, but those ones. It
Gotcha.
releases them for sure. We'll just say for sure. You can
Yeah.
Google it later and figure out which one, but
Yeah.
it's
Well,
good
I
for you.
usually tell people it's the happy hormones. We'll just say that it's the happy hormones.
Yeah. So that's one of them. The other one that I love is the like the morning dew on the
Mm.
grass or
Hmm.
in like whatever foliage, right?
Hmm.
As the sunshine is coming up, it's like shoots across all of that and it twinkles.
Hmm.
And also at night, when you are in, if you've ever been walking through the snow at night, if it's fresh fallen snow, it twinkles like it
Hmm.
sparkles. And
Hmm.
it always reminds me both of like a starry night sky, but you see that in on the ground. So
Hmm.
you look down and like the
Like a
sky
blanket of
is
stars on the ground,
yes,
right?
yes, and it's the most magical thing.
Mhm.
I think those are probably two of my favorite things that I've experienced many a time that
Mhm.
are my absolute favorite.
So for me, it's definitely I use the word a lot, almost too much, right? But seasons. So growing up on the East Coast, my favorite part of the outdoors or nature was one, just laying down in a field of grass and that same kind of breeze sound across the grass and just watching clouds, right? For probably hours, just watch them come by.
Mm,
So that's one. I did like seasons, right? Growing up on the East Coast, the changing of the seasons, the fall was always really cool, the different colors. And then another thing about like my childhood and the seasons was I spent a lot of time outdoors. So like just the smells, right? The textures, like all that stuff. Now, as I became an adult, just like with Travis, the dawn, right? Like waking up when it's a little brisk outside, you
Oh
can't
yeah.
beat that quietness, right? Before the birds even wake up. Like that for me reminds me how to be still, right? That everything's okay. He's got it handled, right? Just to be still. So I love that morning time. But like you mentioned, evenings too, dusk, Joshua Tree down here during dusk, where it's just like cool. You see the blanket of stars on the in the ceiling. I mean, in the sky. That's yeah, too many good memories. But as a kid, just being engulfed by nature, and as an adult, reminding me to kind of slow down. So yeah,
I can feel that
Mhm.
as you say it. It's
Yeah,
like, oh, like especially when it's like, oh, in the morning when it's like brisk and
yeah.
it's just
Especially
got that
camping.
little
Like when you get
whew,
out, you unzip the tent. It's just that cold
yes.
air, moisture kind of hits you. Then you sip
Mm.
that cup of coffee outside. There's very few things like it, let alone beats it. So those are part of kind of that outdoor memory box.
Yes, yes. I also want to say I'm with you there on clouds. I don't think anything like consistently that I experience more like almost on not a day-to-day basis, but more often than not, just like no matter where you are on the
Mhm,
planet,
mhm,
the
mhm.
clouds will always be there.
Yep,
And they elicit like some sort of joy in me more than a lot of other things. Like if everything's going wrong, but the clouds are like those Simpsons clouds in the
yep,
sky,
yep. Yeah,
and
the
I'm
Simpsons
out
clouds.
for a
That's
drive or
exactly
I
what
go
I'm saying.
outside, like it's gonna be much better.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, yes. I was driving on a little road trip back home here, and I saw all the snow-capped mountains, like
Yeah,
going
it's
through
been raining.
Nevada, and and through the Sierras, of course. And oh, it made me want to be out on the top. Like
Yeah.
I just kept looking up, like how high is that peak? How high is that peak? Oh, I should do
Mhm.
that sometime. When I have time. When will that be? I don't know. Someday.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a good reminder to all the dads out there who are in it, in the thick of it,
Mhm.
and you're like, "When will I ever have a moment?" You will
You
one
will.
day. Rob said so,
You will.
so
You
I'm just
will.
trusting what he says.
Yes, you will. I
So,
don't know when, but you will.
and speaking of being in the thick of it,
Mhm,
you as you're listening will be in. Uh, everybody's going to be in different phases of life, right?
mhm.
I have a bunch of littles. You have some little middles.
Yep.
And then we got some people who are probably listening that are getting into high school and college and whatnot.
Yep. Maybe some empty
So
nesters. Yeah.
yeah, so for our listeners out there, we want to dive into a little bit of everything, a little taste of
Mhm,
everything.
mhm,
um Topic number one, let's just say, um what are some things that you can do with your kids,
mm.
that are some like go-to's for getting outside, for yourself, and I will think of it as I go here too,
Yeah.
for me with my kids in this stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your tried and trues, and maybe a couple that you've done, maybe only once or twice, but you loved.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll start like super simple. Well, one of the things is, and what we found over the years is like mandatory outdoors time. So every day we're going to spend some time outside. Not only because we want to unplug from technology and kind of get the
Yes,
wiggles out, but getting some fresh air, being outside, besides all the science, pseudoscience of grounding and all that, it's just good to get out of your house, right?
agreed.
So
Same here.
we're playing in the cul-de-sac at the local park, going to a playground. So first things first is just to kind of map out the close playgrounds, right? The public playgrounds that you can kind of walk to or drive to. So we're always outside, and we've noticed a significant difference in our mental health, our kids' mental health, on those lulls where it like rains every day for like a week or two, right? And how
Yeah.
that is at home versus when we are getting outside and doing everything. So we want the girls to be playing outside as much as possible. So that's that witching hour before dinner, like after homework, where it's like,
Oh yeah.
man, like, can we go back on text? Like, we this is our outdoor time. Everybody knows it. Or the hour post dinner when mom and dad are trying to wash all the dishes and do the laundry and stuff like that. Hey, big middle school sis, take your sisters outside, shoot some hoops, play volleyball, do something active. We notice when they do that, they also sleep better. So that's like the close to home stuff. Now, as far as getting outdoors trips, like we started easy. And what I mean by that is with our oldest, we didn't do any of that, right? Because we were so scared of like what it would may look like. But as we had more and more kids, like, okay, we can't let new parents be the reason why we're not showing our kids this amazing world. So we started with local 1 day trips. They weren't like camp trips where you're doing overnight. So I'm in SoCal, Orange County. Bear is like 2 hours away, right? Let's get up there, play in the snow a little bit during the season, and then come home. Or we'd go to the beach, right? Laguna or something, hour or two, and then come home. So it's giving them like little doses of nature that are within kind of your control so that they get good exposure, good experiences. So then the girls are starting asking, like, hey, when are we going to go back up the mountains? When are we going to go back to the ocean? I want to go in this time, whereas last time I didn't. And so that's kind of like us slow dripping them the benefits of being outdoors. And then that eventually turned into, yeah, camp trip, overnight trip, Yosemite, right? I mentioned before, what did I mention? The desert. You see, now I'm name blanking. Joshua Tree,
Joshua Tree.
right? That's
Yeah.
by us too. So those became our like overnight trips. And of course, we learned like any other parent what to bring, what not to bring, like if you're traveling. And then eventually it's international trips, right? Seeing totally different environments. And so with each of those kind of layers of difficulty, there's definitely things that we replicate that works amongst all of those, and things that only work when you have access to them. Like it's nice to do something that's really hard, knowing that we can come home and they can shower and go into their own bed. Whereas if it's like a new bed, new environment, we try to keep the stimulus or hard things to a minimum, so to speak.
Yeah.
That comes to like travel, right? Being on an airplane or something like that. But those are kind of
Yeah.
the things that we've done that's been really successful. And as much as technology is a reality for our kids, right, versus when we were growing up,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean you can't balance it out on a day to day, week to week, maybe once a month, going outside for a little bit longer of a distance trip, just to remind them how lucky we are to be in California, to be in the States, to have access to all this stuff. And I think there's a benefit to doing that starting young, like baby Bjorn going for a hike, right? Stuff like that. How
For
about yourself?
sure, for sure. Well, I want to ask you. So, you are a little farther along than I am. Have you guys found certain things for you
Mhm.
specifically? It might not apply. It's going to apply differently to everybody. But
Exactly. Yeah.
have you found some rhythms, like just within even just how you travel or what you do there, that work that you're like, this is how we do it every time, like time of day that you travel, or
That's a great question.
like, hey, we do the snow, we do the beach, but we're never going like in this climate again. Like, have you
Yeah.
found some of those things now where you feel like, yeah, we kind of know, we kind of are used
Yeah.
to it?
Yeah. So, and like you said, it's very specific to me. So I'm just sharing my experiences.
Yes, yes.
But all of our girls are working with eczema. So dry, itchy skin.
Yeah,
The Joshua Tree, someplace that's very dry, we have to
yeah,
pack humidifiers. So we pack a humidifier for everyone's room. If we're staying at an Airbnb, even if it's our tent, we have a kind of battery powered humidifier. So we
yeah.
need that humidity for them in order for them to somewhat enjoy the environment. Now, that only works for
You're
a person.
adapting. That's good.
Exactly.
That's great. So
Yeah.
that's what
So
you okay.
yeah, so we don't want to be like, oh, we're never going to go to the desert, right? There's so many benefits of being out there, and the kids love it. So what
Yeah.
can we do as parents to create as much of a environment that's conducive for them to do that? And so for them and their skin, that's one thing we do. Now the opposite, when we go to like the islands or Southeast Asia and it's really humid, we don't need to worry about that, right? So now, do we travel towards those areas a little bit more? Maybe because of the eczema, but it doesn't take the drier states or drier areas, or even seasonally, like wintertime can be fairly dry, even though it's cold and wet outside. There's times where it can be dry. So that's one thing that we do is with that, just kind of prepare for the eczema flare ups. Now, as far as travel time, yes, if we're doing anything long distance, we're always going to break it up and we schedule the breakups. So the kids know, because they're a little bit older, they know how long they're going to be in the car. They know where we're going to stop, what zoo, what ocean, what park we're going to go to. So it gives them something to look forward to. Anything longer than that, like flights, we try to fly during their sleep time. So we travel overseas probably once a year. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're talking 14 plus hour flights.
Yeah.
And so we're not necessarily doing the red eye, because even getting your kids like to go to the airport at 11:30 at night is already tough. It's past the bedtime.
Yeah.
But
Oh
we
yeah.
try to schedule it around dinner. So we're eating dinner, getting on the flight, all that food in the stomach's making them sleepy. And then a good chunk of that flight or road trip, right? Like if we drove up to Oregon from here, a good chunk of that's going to be driving. So for me as a parent, yeah, is it hard driving the midnight shift? But I'd rather do that with a bunch of kids sleeping in the back than them being awake. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there
Yeah.
yet? Right. So
Yes.
the
Yes.
timing of the travel, if it has to be during the day where they're not sleeping, then automatic. We're not trying to like, oh, we're just gonna drive 6 hours straight. Sorry, guys. Right? No, let's work with what we have and make it a positive memory so they want to do it again. If your first couple trips are like, hey, we're just gonna go straight, bunch of crying and whining, that becomes their seed of what road trips are like. And then every future road trip's like, well, is it gonna be like that one? Is it gonna be like that one? Right. So good experience, especially for the first couple one, and really leaning into as many breaks as needed, as snacks as needed to make it a good thing so that they
Yeah.
want to do it more. Right.
That applies. That even applies to adults. Like if you have a spouse
Yes.
that is not necessarily a camper or not necessarily
Yeah.
this or that, you don't want to just go all in. Otherwise,
Oh no.
you might never do it
You never meant you
again.
might need to return all your REI camp equipment after that.
Whoopsie
Yeah.
daisy.
Yeah. But there's
Yeah.
ways to make it work. Like for instance, like maybe you rent an RV, or maybe the kids sleep in the minivan and you and your spouse sleep in a tent. Right. So
Yeah.
there's like little life hacks that you can do. Like we started camping in our garage, right? Giving them the experience of what it is to be like in a tent overnight. And if they didn't like it, they would literally just walk inside and go to bed. So
Yeah.
we started with that. And then it's like a friend's backyard, right? And then you kind of build up to something's close. So if we needed to get home, we're only an hour away. So there's ways to kind of slowly tease that. But then I've heard stories of then they become teenagers and they camping is an Airbnb. So it may
Yeah.
change. It may change.
Right, right. And so, and it's funny because, yeah, I'm thinking through what we do, right?
Mhm.
And now, like, you kind of split it up between like the local stuff and the farther
Big
and the
trips.
farther.
Yeah, the big trips.
Yeah. And for our kids, it's nice. Like, I was just outside with our 1 year old,
Mhm.
and I know, generally speaking, like I can put her on the trampoline and zip it up, and she might be good for 30 minutes, right? And so that I just weed whacked everything around like this area that I hadn't gotten to for
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
while, right? So there's she's getting the sunshine, and she's not somewhere where she can't be.
Mhm.
So we also just got this little sandbox, or we've had it, but we just didn't. We had all this like yucky old stuff in there. And we just renewed it, and boom, she'll sit in there for like an hour, just like picking the sand up and dropping it.
Just playing.
And sometimes she feels like eating it, just pop the passy in, and then she's not eating it anymore. So
There you go.
some of those things, we're at that point where I thought like we have a big backyard and it's not really done. It's just kind
Mhm.
of dirt and sometimes grass like right now in the springtime. But they don't want to be out there as much as we want them to be all the time. So
Mhm.
there's some tried and trues like we've had to play around with it, right? I thought, man, somebody gave us these Power Wheels cars, and
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah,
swapped
yeah.
out the battery for the DeWalt power, like like I did the whole like adaptation so they would
Yeah,
be
the
faster.
DIY.
And
Yep.
yeah, and that turns out for myself is a massive headache because one of them doesn't steer as well. So like my oldest, he's pretty good and he's got it dialed now, so he can kind of do it by himself. But my middle, she's 3, and she's got the one that doesn't really steer as well. So it's basically just constantly trying to drag her and tell her where to go and not
She's
like
just
crash into
drag
something.
racing in the
And she's just
background. That's it.
always crying
Great.
while she's driving. So some of these things I thought were going to be so awesome, and they're not that
Not so
great.
much. And you know what? That's
Um,
kind of a theme of traveling with kids, right? Like you could prepare, especially if you're a new parent or maybe you haven't traveled for a minute. It's not going to be like it was pre-kids, right? And so having all these high expectations of that's, I think you asked like, hey, what's the one thing you do? And I lower my expectations, like as
yes.
far as across the board with everything, how they're going to sleep, how they're going to eat. Just if you have those expectations, even for you as a parent, then you're not going to want to travel anymore, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not like how you thought it was. it's never going to be that way. So
Oh man, if
instead,
if
yeah,
that's the only thing that you take away from this episode, may that be it. That
yeah,
it's never gonna be like you think it's gonna be,
no,
and if you really hold tight to whatever that is, you're gonna be uh, very, very, very
yeah.
disappointed.
It's literally a game of let's make the best of this, right? Whatever
Yes.
situation it ends up being, let's just make the best of it, right? Oh, we
Yeah.
forgot to bring an extra sleeping bag. Let's just make the best of it. So you're going to see that a lot until you find, like Travis and I, until you find your rhythm, right? For the season you're in, what to bring, what not to bring. And just to kind of like piggyback off what Travis said is like one of the things when all of our kids were littles was the pacifier, right? We had doubles, triples, because our kids, like when that thing they wanted it and they didn't have it, meltdown city, right? So we had like extras in the cars, extras in the backpack. I even put passies on the older siblings so that if I needed it for the baby, it was
You just
attached.
pass it off. Yeah.
Literally, it was just attached to them. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, having
Yep.
things at the ready and multiples of them. So our kids didn't really have any like toys or teddy bears, but we have friends bought a pack of 5, right? Like,
Yeah.
because oh no, we left it at Nana's house.
Yep.
Well, either we're driving an hour and a half back to Nana's house, or look, he was actually at home the whole time. Right? Yeah.
Hey. Yep. Oh, that's another huge parent hack. It's like we have Amazon now. If you're traveling
Mhm.
within the states, just send it there or send it back, and you'll be just fine.
So true.
It's not
Having
worth,
to deliver.
yeah, the headache or the heartache.
Mhm. Yeah.
I have to point out that every time that we're doing this, we are recording, and I'm by myself because it's a Nana day, and so
Nice.
everybody's gone. And today it's spring break, and so Deb is like 10 feet away from me, and I'm very very self conscious about what I'm going to say because she's going to give me a funny look, and she was only hearing half of the conversation because
I
it's in
know.
my ears. So
I'm a
she says she's tuning me out. But I should just bring her in as a special guest. She
Yeah,
should
for
put a
sure.
year in. We're talking about traveling with kids, and you would have so many good things to say. She's not camera ready, she says.
You
So
know what? Neither are we. That's why we're on Spotify. So
she knows
yeah.
about the YouTube. Hey,
Oh, the YouTube one. Yeah.
speaking of which, you can catch us anywhere. If you haven't
Exactly.
noticed, yeah, if you want to see our beautiful faces, you can watch us if you want to
On
do
the
that.
YouTubes.
If you
Yes.
prefer to keep it little more just in the ears, then there you go. Spotify, all the
Understandable.
things you listen to. Oh, you can upload video to Spotify too. Yep. Yeah, the technology these days. Okay,
Exactly.
so now that that's out of my brain, um, okay, so for traveling,
Yes.
okay, so there's the backyard, and
Mhm.
there's just adapting with that, right? For some reason, for my oldest, he loves digging. That's his thing, and so
Awesome.
I bought him a shovel, and he has been working on this pit in the backyard for like a year, and
Nice.
it is a reasonable size
It's
now.
now an issue, right?
So
Before it was
that's
a good
his,
idea.
yeah.
Now it's an
Yeah.
issue.
Well, eventually, once we have the sod put in or something,
Mhm.
we'll find something else. Well, there will be more things to do, right?
Or
But
maybe you'll plant a tree, right? Like,
yeah,
hey, that's a huge pit. We can put a new lemon tree or something in there.
yeah. So, um, yeah. So, for this is the thing. So with young kids, here's what I'm gonna say: is the seasons change, and I thought it might be like a cyclical thing, but it's not quite. It's not really cyclical. It's just like kind
Mhm.
of one and done, in
Mhm.
my experience. And yeah, you might think of the same stuff, but like there was a time when with we had the two kids and they fit and their naps lined up and they fit in the bike trailer. So I
Mhm.
was taking them on trips outside. They hop in the trailer and then we go
Go for a
ride
ride.
to the river and they get to throw rocks in the water and then we come
Awesome.
back. Great, awesome. Now then we got the three kids and the two olders don't quite fit in the trailer, even though I got a baby seat that goes in front of me on the bike. Then I'm pulling like 150 pounds. And so that doesn't really sound appealing anymore. So the bike rides have kind of just like gone down.
Mhm.
Now the
Mhm.
oldest is riding his own bike. However, the space in which we have in our neighborhood, there are no sidewalks, and so
Mm.
it's not really a spot where we feel like, oh, that's going to work out. So then we can drive all the things to a place,
Mhm.
which we generally, what we'll do is we'll pack up one of those Power Wheels, and then like the bikes. Or my middle, she doesn't like the bike, she does the scooter, and she
Mm,
jams on that scooter just as fast as the one on the bike. So what have you, again, adaptability, like what
yes.
works, okay, we'll go with that. So we'll take them to the park, right? So parks, obviously, like with
Hmm.
this age, 5, 3, 1, just like go to the park. The
Yep.
1 year old sits in the stroller, push her around, and they
Yeah.
can play on the playground.
And I don't know if this
um
is similar by you, but a couple of the parks by us have a sidewalk or like a path that goes around. So back
yes.
when we were in your kind of season with the littles and we wanted a scooter like was the biggest thing because bikes, the
Yep.
balance wasn't there yet. We just
Yep.
go to parks with a track. So literally, I could be, Mo could be camping out in the middle of it with like the baby, and the other two are literally doing Daytona 500s, but we
Yep.
could keep sight of them the whole time. So,
Yep. Yep. And you'll find, like, I've found in my experience as full-time dad, just going on my own, um still definitely worth it to go out to the parks, right?
yeah.
Those that they're everywhere.
Mm,
So for the most part, wherever you live, you're going to have some parks nearby you. We have a lot of different ones, and I have found, through a process of elimination, like some of them are really busy all the time, and some of them
yes.
are not.
Yeah.
I It's interesting. The one that I like taking my kids the most to is one that, like, nobody barely knows about, and so there's rarely anybody there. Now the
So
tricky
let's
part
share
about
that park name on this podcast. No, I'm kidding. Keep that to
no,
yourself.
yeah, this is my park. It's my park. The it's interesting though. It's, again, you win some, you lose some. So
Mhm,
that that's perfect, because then it's usually only my kids and maybe one other family or something that's
mhm,
there.
mhm.
But because it's in this like secret kind of spot, there's always somebody like doing drugs in their car in the parking
Oh my
lot.
goodness, yeah.
And so, like, for me, I feel fine like walking past the dude that's like passed out on the hood of his car. Like,
Mhm,
I can go by. But like my wife, she's not gonna do that. Or like we don't like feel comfortable doing the same thing, right? So there's
mhm.
way better to have more people there. So I digress. But that's another thing you'll find is like some parks, yeah, it's just too chaotic all the time, or they don't have the path that goes all the way around. So you
Mhm.
figure that out. Um, Parks are definitely a good one. Yeah, when we go out as a family, the benefits of, now you got the beach, right? So I
Mhm.
think the alternate to that, or like where we are, we have the river and of the lake nearby. And so we got last year we had a pass, so you just, the
Nice.
state parks pass, and you just go. So we would just pop over to the lake, and they can play in the water. Like, the nice thing is there's a couple spots there you can literally back the car right up to the water.
Oh,
And so
wow.
we'll just like pull everything out, make a little, put it easy up over the back of the car, and it's like a whole station. So that's
Mhm.
great, because it's adaptable. Again, you can see
And that's a
where the
day
older
trip,
kids are at.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Easy to
yeah.
get out.
Even a
Yeah.
couple hours, it's
Yep.
15 minutes away, right?
Yeah.
So that's great. And the kids love that kind of stuff. So, and we'll go out on a hike along the river, do something like that.
Mhm.
So, we also take our kids. We have a place. I don't know if you have anything like this, but there is a spot where we like to go and we'll walk, and it's kind of like a little main street. And there's a
Mhm.
bookstore and a toy store that are right next to each other, and we'll
Oh,
like
perfect.
go in with the
Little
kid. The
1-2
kids will
punch.
pull the books out, and they like to look at the books.
Mhm.
So that's another one that's we do a lot more often than not. Like, gets them out of the house, gets a little walk in, and they get to be around people and
Mhm.
such too. So
Mhm.
good practice socializing and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tell you, with the long drives,
Mhm.
um, it's funny. I For a little while it worked. I think with two when they were younger, the drive through the night thing worked, and so I would be able to like kind of recharge the next day, and there you have it. But now we just literally got back from this, driving from Idaho back to here, and it actually worked out better to drive throughout the whole day. I thought
Mhm.
the "Are we there yet?" thing would happen a lot more during the day,
Mm-hmm.
which it has in the past, and therefore we've done the night. But when we went there, we tried the like afternoon night. Like, okay, this
Mm.
will be good. They'll be awake for a while.
A
We
little
have
nap
this
time in the
spot that we
car,
stop.
and
Yeah.
then you get home. Yeah.
And then like we put them in PJs and then they go to bed in the car and they
Yeah.
sleep the second half.
Yeah.
Well, the issue with my kids, they don't sleep on that second half. And then they're asking, are we there yet? And I'm tired and I'm hungry
Mm-hmm.
and all the things. So it was pretty much a disaster the whole way there.
Yeah.
Um, and then that way back was pretty much bliss. Like somehow, yeah, usually we expect like about a potty break like on the hour every hour.
Yeah, I think it's
So it's
safe to
like
do
9
that
or 10
even if you
hours.
don't think about it, right? Like, it's just you don't want to run into that situation where it's like, "I need to go potty now," and you're like, "We're in the middle of nowhere. There's no pull off from the freeway." Like,
Yep.
yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yep. And in the middle of nowhere. Well, I guess shout out to I'm not gonna say shout out, that's the wrong word. An effective usage of the minivan that we own. Let me tell you, I'm pretty impressed. My wife does things that,
Well,
she's far
first off,
braver than I.
I just want to announce that Travis said he's pretty impressed with a minivan. So
with the
win,
with a
just win.
functionality
We're gonna
of
cross that.
vehicle
We're just gonna say
with the
he is impressed with the
functionality
minivan.
of a vehicle um
Made in
in
the shape of a minivan. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. It's
okay,
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 Travis.
all right. uh she had our middle one go in the little, like, we have a little travel toilet,
Mhm.
that's a trick.
Yep.
In the car,
Yep.
like, we didn't even really, I mean, we didn't really stop.
Yep.
I won't say where. That's Yeah, okay, she's not even worried about it. I was like, okay, I didn't say that. We weren't moving for the safety of everybody. Why would I do that?
Why would he be driving and using the potty?
No
That's
way. If
no,
you're a
Travis
parent,
pulled
go.
over.
If you, yeah, yeah, I pulled over and we
Yeah.
stopped. Anyways, there's plenty of space in there, and so
It is amazing
the
that you can do
travel
that.
hack,
Mhm.
for that is one of those little potties. This is what she was yelling at from the other room. She just said, "You put a baby diaper in the bottom,
Yep. Yep.
soaks up
Soaks it all up.
everything, and then you just take that, you wrap it up, you stick it
You
in a doggy bag, tie
yep.
it up.
Done.
No smell, no mess, no muss, no fuss.
Exactly.
Boom." So we're in that stage, right? As like all the potty breaks, and
Mhm.
well, and I guess it's a pro and a con. They have to go all the time, but technically you can pull it off like in the vehicle or off to the side,
You
So
can with the minivan.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there's that. Plus, I did hook up my N64 and
Nice.
showed them some N64 while we were going,
Some
and we
classic
just
games. Maybe
swapped places.
that's why they weren't saying, "Are we there yet?" Where they were trying to beat Super Mario Brothers. So
Yeah. So there's plenty of things to keep them busy with during the day. And when they're not tired, they're not as fussy, right?
yeah.
And you can keep giving them snacks so they're not hungry. So anywho, we have gone through plenty of drives with all of the kids, and
Mhm.
it's just a constant kind of adapt and overcome as you
It
go.
is. It
And
is.
that doesn't mean that we're gonna stop doing it by any means. It just
No.
means, hey, let's take note of what happened this time, and then we'll change it this next time.
And you
And
know
so
what?
I
It
think,
gets easier too, right? With
yep,
every iteration of it, it does get easier.
yeah, yeah. So I guess my encouragement to everybody would be with those, like, still do it,
Mhm.
but keep in mind that it's not going to be exactly as you expect.
No, and that's
And
also like seasonally too. So like if we go back to the park, right? The parks near your home analogy, our oldest is a middle schooler, and a lot of the parks are not catered toward that age group, right? They're usually catered toward toddler, 5 or 6 and under. And
yeah,
so like there was definitely a growing pain or a situation where like, okay, we all need to go out. It's perfect for the younger two or the youngest. Then what do we do with the older two? Right. So then you start looking for parks where like our older kids, they like to play sports. So, basketball court, soccer field, stuff like that. So that you
yeah,
can adapt it that way. And same thing with longer trips. Like our teenager, hey, on a flight, she loves it. She gets to watch 5 movies. Sweet. She never gets to watch 5 movies in a row,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Literally finishes half of the Harry Potter series on the way there, the other half on the way back. But that's for older kids. When they were younger and traveling these longer distances, we had coloring books, we had little toys, little snacks. But one of the hacks that really worked, and the older kids know it now, so it doesn't surprise them anymore,
Yeah.
but we'd have a bunch of new stuff that they haven't seen, haven't eaten, haven't played with, hidden in a backpack. So when we get
Yep.
to that kind of witching hour, 2.5 hours into a road trip, or
Yep.
maybe after lunch is served on the plane and they're like, we're bored, that's when you kind of unleash like the one gift. And it's usually an interactive thing. So like checkers for the older kids so they can play checkers together, or maybe a coloring book, but it uses water versus coloring pencils. So you don't have to bring a
Yep.
bunch of coloring pencils. So
Yep.
these little like life hacks for travel, activities that are new and stimulating goes a long way. And that goes with snacks too. So we'd buy, depending on where we'd travel to, some like local snacks that you would never get here for the flight back. Right. So it's like
Yes.
that treat. Like they know they're not going to see this or eat this in a while. So it was one of those treats for them. So that's
For
another.
sure. And so we're in the same boat, you and I, again, in the sense that we have traveled internationally quite a few times as
Mhm.
well with the kids. And you do these, 12, 14 plus hour flights, and you gotta be well prepared. And again, my wife gets all the credit for all of these things because all the things that you're saying, I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. She did them all, and she got all the. She's the one who prepares it. She's the one who packs everything. So
That's
shout
awesome.
out to all the moms out there who are out there packing for all the children. And then, I'm just like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah, my stuff. And I throw it in my backpack and
exactly.
I'm done in 5 minutes. And I'm like, I gotta go pack the car,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's funny in our
Um,
household, mom does all the snacks and the treats. I do all the tech. I make sure the iPads are charged, the movies that they
ah,
want are downloaded,
yes.
making sure all that stuff is ready. So we kind of divide and conquer, and that's what we notice. Whereas if like one parent has all of it, then it can kind of there. If early on, let me retract.
Yeah.
Early on, we did have one parent that did all of it, but that parent also got to nap during the entire car drive. So that was the trade off.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say there is a trade off there,
Yeah.
right? There's like, she has the things that she's really good at and things that
Mhm.
I'm good at. And
Exactly.
so,
You want to
and
work
I
with
would
your
take,
strength.
like I'd be like this last time, like I'm checking to make sure like all the cameras are charged on the outside of the
Yeah.
house, and
Yep.
I'm,
Same.
mowing the lawn so it's not like crazy chaos when we get back. And
Mhm.
there's like different things that we're thinking about to prepare for coming back or prepare to head out. So
You see, and that's another thing I think I wasn't aware of until we traveled more was the prep work for the home base, right? Like you said, mowing the lawn, making sure
yes.
trash taken out, batteries are charged, making sure, depending on how long you're traveling, any of the bills, your monthly bills, some of them already paid prior to leaving. Like all those things I didn't know until we got like late notices or overgrowth or like bug infestations. Like, oh, maybe we should have taken the trash out. Right. So those are the small things you also learn when you do those longer, like week long, month long trips, especially overseas or where you're not going to be home or you don't have like a house sitter or a friend staying, stuff like
Yep.
that.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. A hack for when you're traveling for a long time that we do is you close all the doors,
Hmm.
because if you have some sort of fire in your house, that can cut it off
Hmm.
down to one room. I did not
Nice.
know that, but I've seen a couple videos now on that and whatnot. And
Excellent.
um,
One of the things that we've done over the years is we actually turn off the main water to the house.
yeah.
And the reason
Hmm.
being is, especially if you have an older home, like leaks and stuff, right?
Yes.
Turns into a piped a pipe that's been broken, and then you have a flood, and so all that can be taken care of if you just shut the water off before you travel. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, technology these days is insane.
yeah.
Like with all of the smart stuff that you have, like like I can put a camera in the house too, like move it around. So then it's
Mhm.
like I can always just be like, oh yeah, how's it going? Or like the chickens, we got those out back. I can put one over there, and then it's just like, hey, how are they doing? Yeah, they're
Mhm.
looking good. Their food's full. Okay. Like I could see it all from across the world,
Mhm.
or like we don't have this, but like you can close your garage door, or you can make sure
Yeah.
your
Turn on the
your other
thermostat.
car
Turn
is,
off
is
the
still in
thermostat.
the, yeah, 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 it's crazy.
That is.
So there's plenty of good stuff out there, but yeah. So internationally, you already said it pretty much.
Mhm.
Those are the things that we have utilized.
So
Sometimes
do you
it's
have any?
smart to buy the extra seat for like for young, like
That's a
for
great question.
sometimes we've tried to save money and done the lap kid, and
Yep.
you take the risk, right? And sometimes it is, there's a reward there because you don't have a full plane, so you still
Mhm.
have the kid next to you. But if for some reason you're on a 13-hour flight. Do you want to risk that and then have everybody filled in like sardines, and then you have a baby on your lap the entire time
That
who
usually means
hates
dad standing for hours. That's usually what it turns into.
yeah, and you'll get through it, but it's going to be hell on earth for a little while.
Yeah, I remember times lap kids and then them wanting to sleep. We used to like take the blankets and put it on the ground where all of our feet
Yes.
were and made like
Yep.
a
Yep.
little like cot for them. Right. So
Yes.
there's different ways to do it. Now, even with all the flying accessories, like you can get little blow up beds that fit
Yep.
within. So I would say
Yep.
nothing is exhaustible. Try it all, figure out what works. We had a toddler that would only sleep on a parent. So, you make that work. I remember with our youngest one doing one of our first flights overseas, I should have tracked it, but like a marathon at 30,000 feet, like I literally walked for hours because she could not settle in her chair or anything else. So it's
Yeah.
like, hey, you know what? I'll bite the bullet for this. Like the stewardess would like literally line up waters like you would on a marathon because I'd literally just be walking the entire length of the plane for hours. And you kind of bite the bullet because it's a toddler and you're doing your best. And so I also knew that once we landed, I could sleep and mom and grandparents would take care of the baby and then we were fine. Right. So you
Yeah.
kind of know these things.
Yep.
Our kids weren't the loudest, fussiest because either they wanted food. Like once you understand your kids, right, it's either like a wubby, food, or they're tired. So if you
Yep.
can address those things quickly, that's fine. But some kids
Yep.
just flights don't work well with them. So
Yeah.
we've had other parents give us little like Ziploc bags with a quick note, like, hey, fussy first time flyer here, here's some treats and stuff. And I remember when we used to get the looks when we first started traveling with our oldest when she was a
Yep.
baby, and now being able to provide support for those parents with really young ones. Like there's been
There
a
you
couple of flights
go.
where like, hey, I'll take the baby, right? You guys just eat your food, right? It's totally fine. And they look over, they're like, why are you helping? And then they see all my like 13-year-olds and my 10-year-olds, they're like, no, we're good. We got it. Right.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
kids will actually help out the other kids that are there, which is kind of nice. So it's kind of
For
one of the things
sure.
where if you're a traveling parent, like there's a tribe out there. There's a community that you're not alone. We've been all through the thickness of traveling. But like any other skill, it'll
Yeah.
develop the more you do it. So just because it's hard the first couple of times doesn't mean like, oh, we can never travel to see the grandparents, or maybe we're traveling's not us for this season. It's
Yeah.
just adapting, right? And then again, expectations, right? I did not have any expectations flying 14 hours with a 8-month old. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
no expectations.
You just grab whatever you can to be prepared as much as you are, and
Stay
then
hydrated.
sometimes your kid will watch Bambi 3 times in a row, and you're like,
You know
"That's a
what?
traumatic movie.
Monsters
How are
Inc.
you watching
was
that? Why
on
are you laughing so
rotation.
much?" There
Yeah,
you go.
Monsters Inc. rotation.
Boom. And there's 6 hours gone, or
Done.
at least 4.5.
4.5 hours.
So
Yeah.
anywho, well, you guys stay flexible out there as you
Exactly.
travel, and don't let the age of your kids or the number of kids you have stop you.
Yeah.
There's always an option, whether it's 5 minutes away or 5 hours away or 5 days away.
Exactly.
You can figure it out, make it fun, and that there you have it.
There
So
you go.
as per the usual, we are not professionals.
We are not gurus.
We
We're
are
just
just two
two
dads
dads.
in real life.